Learning Birds, this is Mr. Ozarka with another lesson brought to you by LearningBird.com. If you have any questions about the following video, you can email me at mrozarka@gmail.com. Alright, here we go. Alright, so this is going to be a video about outliers. And basically what outliers are, it's values that lie outside of the rest of the data. So it doesn't follow necessarily the same pattern as the data, or it's not clustered with the data. A way to kind of show you this is this comic right here. It says, outlier, it's kind of a play on the word outlier, and it's saying that basically this hand right here, this person is going to try to erase this point right here because it doesn't follow along with the rest of his data on this best fit line right here. And then it said this little point is saying your theory is wrong because all these data points are following along with the theory, except for this data point right here, it's not following along, so it's saying your theory is wrong. So if you don't understand this comic right now, hopefully by the end of this video, you'll actually be able to understand it a little bit more. So let's get into a little bit more detail about what an outlier is. So like I said before, outliers are basically just values that lie outside. That's why it's outlier. They lie outside significantly more than the rest of the data. Okay, so an example right here in this number line here, we have a bunch of data points, and they're clustered together here. And then we have this outlier right here, which is down by the 10. So these right here, between 1 and about 5 right here, are all clustered together. And then we have this outlier out here by itself. And so it lies outside significantly more than the rest of the data. Okay, a similar thing is down here in this line plot. It says number of hours practiced. And as you can see, there are 4 2s, 1 3, and 3 4s. And these are all clustered together. And then there's all of a sudden this gap right here from 5 to 12. And then there's an outlier right here, a data point of 113. So there's 113 value out here, and that would be considered an outlier because, again, it lies outside significantly more than this cluster right here. And the last example in this upper right here, we have a bunch of data that follows this best fit line, and then all of a sudden we have this outlier that doesn't follow that same pattern. So it's similar to that comic in that first slide that we just showed. So this would be considered an outlier because it doesn't follow this pattern with the rest of the data. Some considerations with outliers are that it kind of messes up your data a little bit. Now, the best way of really showing this is through an example. So I have this example right here where it says student, and this is student 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So these are just 7 different students, and then it's a score on some test or quiz or something else that they took in class. So it's got 91, 93, 23, 83, 72, 89, 77. This 23, I colored it red here, so it kind of stands out a little bit more because it lies way outside the rest of the values right here. Okay, now so because of this, it kind of throws off the average. So if you look down here, the mean, which is the average of all of these numbers, so I added up all these numbers and divided by 7, and you get the average of about a 75.4. And then we get a median of 83. Now basically this 75 right here is not really showcasing this data very well. If a teacher was being evaluated based on these scores, it might not look too good on this teacher that the average on this test or this quiz or whatever these scores are for, it ends up being about a C right here, 75%. That doesn't look too great. So what would happen if I just got rid of this 23? Well, that's what I did in this next data set right here. So now it says student 1 through 7 again, and then it says score without the outlier. So it's got the 91, the 93, but this time this 23 right here is just removed completely. Now the mean, the average of all these numbers turns out to be an 84 instead of that 75. This looks a lot better for that teacher to just remove that score. The median, if you notice, is an 86, so that's still pretty close to the median from before. The big change happened in the mean. So this next data table right here is going to show the difference between these two. So if you take the 84.2 and you subtract off this 75.4 right here, you get a difference of about 8.8. That's a difference in 8.8 average on that test or that quiz or whatever the score is representing. So that teacher, their average basically changed by 8.8 just because they removed one score. The median, on the other hand, just changes by 3. So the median you might want to look at a little bit more than this mean because of this outlier. So you might be thinking, well, can we just remove outliers every single time? Well, the thing about outliers is you can remove them, but you can only remove them if there is a good reason to. This student 3 might have just had a really bad day when they were taking this test, and because of that they scored a 23, or maybe they missed a certain page on the test, or maybe the test wasn't copied correctly enough, or maybe they bubbled the answer sheet in wrong somehow. Either way, the teacher does definitely need to look into this outlier right here because it changes the mean by so much. In summary, for the considerations of the outliers, you need to think about why the outlier exists. So again, maybe that student had a bad day. You want to think about why it exists to begin with. Outliers can only be removed with good reason. So if there is a good reason to get rid of it, that's totally fine to get rid of it. But if there isn't, then you have to actually keep the data there. If the outlier is not removed, looking at the median might give a more accurate picture of the data rather than looking at the mean or the average. So That's basically outliers. Hopefully you can understand this comic a little bit more now, because it says your theory is wrong, so that it doesn't match the data like we said before. So because of that, this is an outlier, and this person is basically saying, outlier, like get out of here, liar, and basically just kind of try to erase that data point. So that's outliers. If you have any questions about anything in this video, let me know. And if you thought this lesson helped you, please be sure to click "This was helpful." For other great lessons, be sure to check out learningbird.com.